Hi, welcome to Seeker Speak, and this is our Friday live chat, and we have Priscilla Gendron. Now, she was on here before, and she talked about her 2 NDEs as well as her abilities as being an international psychic medium, as well as she's a founder, manager, director of 2, I mean, she does so much, of 2 conferences. One is a festival, one is a conference. She used to have them, the Spirit Festival in person, and of course now she's doing it online, as well as that's her Spirit Lifestyle Festival, and that she also does the Wellness Lifestyle Conference, which you can find out more below at spiritlifestylefestival.com, and you can find out more information. So I wanted to have her back, and we were going to have a chat about some of the wisdom that she's learned from having spiritual holistic shops to having these huge global conferences that she has, how she screens different psychic mediums. And I've actually been on her psychic circles as first of all, I observed and was a sitter, and then I was on there twice as a reader, and it was a blast because I totally would get the names wrong and people would laugh, and I would, being from the South, would add extra vowels, and so we had a lot of fun, and she had terrific people that showed up as sitters. So I wanted to have her back today, so let me bring her on. Welcome, Priscilla.
Hi, welcome. Thank you for having me back. It's lovely to be here.
Absolutely. Well, I wanted to talk about I know you've done so much, but you are really now, you've gone from, really trying to embrace who you are as your near-death experiencer, a 2-time, as well as you were saying it's a reboot, and to really, and then your abilities, the after effects of knowing, being a psychic medium, talking with spirit, and now, of course, being a professional, international, you do work everywhere, psychic medium, and owning that. But I believe you are a perfect qualified person to be able to screen these spiritual practitioners, because you've been to so many over the years and have been in the business and had them at your shops and at your conferences. But also, you're a healer and a psychic medium and a teacher, and guide people through this life and through this journey we call life. I'm starting to sound like Prince now, so I wanted people to know, what are some things that you've learned along the way. And we were talking about energy actually pre-show. We were talking about energy and about doing this work, especially being a psychic medium, because we were talking amongst ourselves as in the business that every now and then your energy will get drained. And, I've been working a lot of long hours on the show, but it doesn't matter how much sleep, not that I'm getting a lot of sleep, but I'm getting okay sleep, that I can't quite reboot. And it was interesting because you were saying that a lot of psychic mediums, because there's so many changes in the world right now, that they're absorbing some of that energy, that they're having difficulty rebooting with their energy. Why don't you talk about that? Just because there are other people might be going like, what's up? Why am I so tired? If you could speak to that first.
Yeah, it's kind of like we almost had a meteor hit our planet. It's like a spiritual meteor. And it kind of just threw everybody off sync. And I feel as if, especially for the people that are more spiritual or in the spiritual realm, it has affected everybody a lot more intensely than just the regular Joe on the street. Not that they aren't affected as well, but the spiritual people have a much more heightened sense of energy and connection to the universe. So with all these spiritual changes happening, and with everything happening globally, with the pandemic and energies fluctuating and people's energies changing, it has been incredibly hard for all the spiritual people. And I feel as if they have been incredibly drained. So people have been relying on their energy and drawing it out of them a lot more, because they know that they're the beacon, they're a lighthouse. So, we're going to get drawn to the lighthouse. We're going to just draw our energy from the lighthouse. So it's kind of like almost draining that energy. And then that leaves the person that is the spiritual person actually feeling drained and tired and exhausted and unable to cope and sleep and things like that, because they're just taking much energy from them. And us as spiritual beings are not protecting ourselves enough and not putting up enough
Mhm.
blocks, because we see the anguish in the world at the moment and we want to
Yeah,
help. So we give our
yeah.
energy freely,
Mhm.
not realizing that it's just taken and taken and taken.
Right. Well, to me, and I want to ask you about this. So you've got, it seems like multiple layers. You have, a lot of light workers that are stepping it up. Like, I was actually told to do this, the Seeking Heaven channel, I was told to do this and doing the online, like you've been doing a lot of your conferences online, like
Yes.
amazing speakers. What do you have? 217 speakers now?
We got about 250 speakers from 17 countries. And it started from zero, from nothing. We had nobody. We didn't have a website. We didn't have anything. And then the pandemic hit, and that's when we stepped up and we took our whole live event online. And it's been an amazing journey, because I have met the most incredible people. All those 270 speakers, I've personally met them and spoken to them, whether it's online or in person. I know them personally. And it's been an incredible journey for me as well, as a spiritual being, to connect with them again. And it's kind of like almost we casting our net out to the world, not just into our own little world where we live in. It's now gone global. And it's been an
Right.
amazing journey, because everybody brings something to the table, whatever they're talking about or whatever knowledge they're imparting on their talk. It all is just helping other people to find the answers that they're looking for. And that's what our site is all about. It's about helping others to find what they're looking for. If they're struggling, and it's been an incredible year, with people going through a lot of mental issues as well,
Oh,
because this
gosh.
has really affected people mentally, not just physically, but mentally.
Mhm.
Having spoken to my GP recently with my own illness, he
Mhm.
was saying the new condition that's on his books is mental illness. He
Oh,
says he's
wow.
never had so many people come in with mental illness.
Really?
Yeah.
Wonder why you think it's just, well, it could be just also people that are stuck with people in the household, their
Yeah,
kids, their
that's it.
wife, their husband,
It's the
right?
confinement. You've been stuck together. You're having to
Uh,
face things you don't want to face. Maybe
mhm.
you don't like what you see, and you now have to face it because there's nowhere else to go. And I call the COVID pandemic, I call it being locked in a room with no exit, and all the walls are made of mirrors. And all
Hmm.
you can see is yourself. And that's
Yeah.
what this pandemic has done, is made you face yourself and made you face all your frailties, good, bad points. And it's made you go in search of answers and in
Yeah.
search of the truth of what you want for yourself going forward.
I
And that
also,
includes spiritual people, even more so.
yes. So, and I like what you said earlier, that a lot of spiritual people. So you've got, well, we'll talk about layers. You have, you were saying spiritual people are getting downloads as well, and maybe they're
Yes,
not ready for it, or they're overwhelmed by that. But I
very
think
much.
also, so you're getting the energy of, whatever's out there. To me, what I'm thinking a lot of the energy is, it's not just, yeah, there's some negative stuff going out there, sure, whatever you want to, call it. But I also think it's people's mindsets, this resistance, which to me creates negative energy, right? They're like, I don't want to deal with that, or
Yeah.
no, or I mean, just look at, I don't know, just in the US, the political campaign was upsetting, because you had some, family and friend members won't even talk to one another, and they were so upset over that. I didn't even want to watch the TV. It was just, I mean,
Mm.
and you had that out
It's
there
hard
every
to
day, and
watch.
then people
Yeah.
wanted to talk about it. I was like, I don't want to talk about it. I was like,
Yeah.
because, and so you had that, not even to mention the COVID and so forth. But I think it has to do with, if we are transitioning to something, our next step, let's just say that our next
Yeah.
step in
It
life,
definitely
in
is
this phase.
spiritually another step. Yeah. It definitely is spiritually another step. And we have to take it, because there is no going back from this. Once we
Mhm.
start on this trajectory and this path, there is no going back, because there's nothing to go back to. The past is done. We can't ever go back to the past. We can only ever move forward within this world. And it's what we take with us into 2021 and into 2022 and 23 and 24. What do we take with us is going to be important. And spirituality and being able to find who we are as people,
Mm-hmm.
and finding that those things that are going to connect us and help us to
Mm-hmm.
join the dots with other people, that's what's going to take us forward. Not
Yes.
the materialistic stuff. That is being, thrown by the wayside. It's about your own energy, your own strength, your own resilience, your patience, your compassion, all those things that we forget about in the everyday life. We get up in the morning, we have our breakfast, we go to work, we fight the traffic, we swear at somebody because it's road rage, and we get to our job and we pencil pushing, and then we're fighting with our colleagues, and then we come home and we fight the traffic again, and we get home and then the kids are screaming, and so it's this vicious cycle, and then suddenly it stopped and everybody was forced to be in one room, and everybody was forced to find another way. So there was no more road rage, there was no more driving to work and back, there was no more communicating with people besides through a mask or on a screen. And it made people really sit up and think about what's really going on in our lives, what's important, who is important in our lives.
Yeah, that's true. So, and I think that what the discontent is, people are saying that maybe they weren't exactly in alignment, maybe they weren't happy with what they were doing or who they are or who they're with, and so it's creating all this turmoil. And so, anyone that's intuitive or empathic or any spiritual, we're picking up on that, people's emotions, and it's it's the whole world, and it's out there, and so. That's one aspect you're saying that's draining to people, right?
Yeah, I would say probably two out of four of my clients that come to see me, either in person or online, are going through some kind of a relationship turmoil or wanting to leave their partner, and
You're
that is
kidding.
all. Yeah, it's been crazy. But every time I get online with somebody and I look at them, I think, oh my God, another one, without them even saying something. So it just feels like so many people are just realizing, okay, I'm in the wrong relationship, or this is not working for me anymore. I'm happy and haven't been for years. And then also they're not being treated properly, because now you're confined, and all the little niggles and fights and arguments all seem to become amplified, because now
Yes.
there's no time for us to be apart. All we can see is each other. So it's nig the whole time. And there's no time for separation. You could go to the toilet and sit in the toilet and close the door. That's the only place to get
Well, thanks for really painting that picture, but you're right. I mean, unless you live in a mansion and you can be on one wing, like the Beverly Hillbillies, and they can be on another wing. It's really true. It's funny.
It's difficult. So, I like myself, I'm in a small little flat, an apartment. It's 2 bedrooms, and so if you don't go to your bedroom or to the loo, there's nowhere else to go to be away from the person that you live with.
No, that's so true.
Time at time, and people need that. We need time for ourselves to recharge us, to replenish our energy and our batteries, and that also leads onto the spiritual people, because now we feel obligated as spiritual beings and as a higher energy that we've got to put in more work, because we need to hold them up. We need to keep the light going. So we need to keep on pushing and pushing. And then we push too far, because we're then depleting ourselves as spiritual beings. And
I agree.
A lot of my colleagues and friends that are in the same boat as me, that are spiritual, and they've all been having issues, whether it be physical issues or illness or energy drains or tiredness, not being able to sleep, all these things, all very similar things happening to all of them.
Really? So the light workers are really getting their butts kicked. So, there is, there's, I think, my opinion is there's a dark element out there that maybe doesn't want us to move forward and resist. You have that. People, forces, whatever, don't want to really get into it. We'll just leave it at that. Then the other thing would be, like you said, people are in conflict now, because it's like the dust has been kicked up and they're forced to face, a lot of people might not wanted to face, like, oh, the situation in the marriage, not so great, or they're they didn't like their job or whatever their thing is. Now they're faced, because they're like, kind of stuck there with them, with themselves, to have to face all these things. So now they're being forced to look at it. And I'm hoping that people learn to, like, look, if you're not happy, life is short. Don't
Mm.
don't be around people that don't treat you well, or that you don't like, or maybe it's not even that. Maybe you know, there's nothing wrong with, say, your spouse. Let's just say that. Maybe
Yes.
it's you're just past, or it
Yeah.
could be that the people that are around you, it's time to change your friends.
Yes, definitely. And I've noticed that a lot with all the clients I've been having over the last 3 to 4 months, is that they're needing to make changes in their lives. You know, and I think that what 2020 has taught us is that we had to stand and face ourselves. And that was the biggest thing that we learned from that, is that who are we as human beings, who as we are as you know, people, as women, as men, children, everybody. Who are we?
Mhm.
How can we contribute to make the world a better place, not make it more angry or more frustrated or more fearful? And that's
Mhm.
all the other guys have been trying to do, is to pump up the fear, anxiety, fearfulness, you know, sheep mentality. And it's been difficult for people to not fall into that because it's safe and comfortable. Or let's just go with the majority, you know, okay, it's the herd mentality. Instead of, and that's where the light workers are coming in, because we're standing on our 2 feet and saying, no, we're going to shine our light, and we're going to shine it as brightly as we can, and we're all linking hands. And that's what I've been trying to do, is to
Uh-huh.
bring together
I
under one
agree.
umbrella this amazing group of spiritual beings, wellness professionals, lifestyle gurus, and just bring
Mhm.
them all under one umbrella to say, let's hold the light, let's hold the space, let's help each other.
Right.
If we
No,
don't help each other, who's going to help us?
no, I love it. And I think that that was the other part that we were talking about pre-show, that
Yeah.
you have so many speakers online, and you're going to have it also in person, some other things going on, to offer people mind, body, spirit options. I mean, these aren't the normal stuff you see, and it's all boring. You have some cool people that really get in there and do
Yeah.
some healing work and or healing messages. But what about the healers? The healers are usually, what is it? The cobbler's children usually have no shoes. I mean, it's like the healers are really giving, and I think that well, for myself, I feel like that. I want to turn the tide. I want it to be more of one of love and light, and not be negative, and be a lighthouse to people.
Very much.
Which is why I'm working really long hours. I'm probably too
And I
long.
think I can appreciate that. You know, they just see your event and your show, and they think, oh well, it took 5 minutes, but it doesn't. It takes a long time for everything to be put together. And even, you know, I look at my own show, and I think that it doesn't just happen. It takes us 2 months to put the event
Yeah,
together. You know, to get everything up and get all the speakers and get all their videos and get all
you're
the
right.
information and all the advertising and stuff like that. And it all takes time.
And then you've got to have interpersonal relationships. Like, if I just said, okay, come on the show, blah, blah, thanks, bye. But I don't. I stay connected. Like, what do you need? How can I help you? I look at each person, if they let me, as a person on an individual basis. But yeah, man, I'm working 12, 15 hours. I mean, my husband's not real happy with
Yeah.
that. And
In
I
the
know
club.
he's not happy, including Saturday and Sunday. But the thing is, I know it's not forever, but I feel like that it's a time that people that we're getting through this little hump. We need to do it together globally, and we need to have a hopeful message. So let's go back to the energy and handling energy. And it's so funny because I was like, man, I feel like I know I'm working long hours, but my energy is kicked. You're like, oh, it's going on around everywhere. So
Yeah,
I think the first thing, what I'm getting is, give yourself permission. We're going through a change.
very much so. And I think that, you know, from my own story and my own journey over the last month, I got incredibly ill, and I had to find a way to fix myself because, you
Mm.
know, conventional medicine wasn't doing anything. And I eventually had to take a step back and say, okay, I need to get my guys on board, you know, my spiritual guys and my people that I know that can help me to heal. And,
Right.
you know, I have, you know, a plethora of amazing people that can help me. And I started off with a DNA activation and cleansing with an amazing woman called Fiona from Rensburg. And that really started the ball rolling for me to
Mhm.
really initiate my healing. And then I went to the amazing Lynn Monarchy, who did an integrated healing and sound therapy session with me. That brought up stuff that I never in my wildest dreams thought would be possible to heal, and we did. And it was profound, because everything she was saying to me was exactly what had happened. We went through generational stuff, karmic generational stuff that had been going on for 3 or 4 generations, that we had to heal as well and let go of, and not just in my present time. And I feel like I did have that epiphany. And for the very first time, I actually feel recharged and ready to face the world again. Because at one stage I was like, okay, I'm not going to do anything. I'm not going to do readings. I'm not going to work. I'm just going to curl up into bed and stay there. and that's what I felt, you know, but I had to still do it, and I had to get out into the world and still do my work. So it was very difficult. And
well,
sometimes
and I think
we forget to build our energy, and we forget to look after ourselves.
Yep, that's me. I'm the first to admit that. But, you know, I've always pulled myself out of it. But this time I'm like, wow, the energy is just really tough, you know. And so, yeah, so here's the thing. You know, time exists here, but it really doesn't exist on the other side. And if spirit, you know, the great divine, the great spirit, whatever, wants us to accomplish something, it's going to happen. I mean, and it's not really its own, not our timing, but spirit's timing. So that's one good thing to keep in mind. So I think that it's just kicked up the dust with people. And honestly, I think it's positive, because one of the things that my observation that I looked at is my habits before versus my habits now. And then I also looked at what I enjoy and what I don't enjoy and what I like. And I'm getting answers I did not expect. I got to tell you.
I'm the same. And even the things eating or not eating as well, that also changes.
What was it again?
The things that you're eating or putting into your body, what you're consuming also changes. And that also has a huge impact on you and you stepping forward. So it's not just about the spiritual side and your connection to spirit and the healing process. It's about also, what are you nourishing your body with?
Well, it's being spiritually responsible. I think we were talking about that, having a laugh, because I went to my annual doctor and I was like, oh God, I dread doing this. I've been seeing the same guy. He's pretty cool for like years. And I was like, oh, I put on a little bit of weight. It was funny. I went to the doctor's office. It's a really, you know, nice place. And I went in there, and all the people that I've seen in the past, they were like all much heavier. It's so funny. And I said, well, you know, it's okay to go back to the gym now. And he goes, well, he said, the only people who've gotten sick in my office are the ones that went to the gym. I'm like, great. So, but, you know, but looking at, because I haven't had the exercise and the things, and I've been, you know, doing bad things like eating lemon cake. I don't know what the heck about lemon cake. And Pinot Grigio. I'm like, it's sugar. And so I've got to get that right, because, you know, falling into bad habits. I mean, it's not like I, you know, became a crack addict. It could be worse. But
and also the fact that you then, in a sense, because of the lockdown, you haven't had the ability to go out and do exercise and do all the things that you had to keep yourself healthy. And then you're sitting around all the time, and so you're changing the way you're doing work. You're sitting at a computer screen, so you get the nibblies, and then you like nibble on that and nibble on this, and you don't realize that you've just scoffed a whole lot of things that you shouldn't have. Whereas if you were out working or doing things or seeing clients in person, you wouldn't be having those habits.
It's true.
So
the habits do change.
What happened last year, that it changed the way we ate, the way we did things. Our exercise regime changed. You know, I suppose if we really wanted to, we could have run around the block and then pushed back under the bed. But, you know, it was it's been difficult. You know, it's been difficult to sort of get back to that routine of normality, or what we perceive to be normality.
That's big, because what we had, I think, my opinion, whether you had your exercise routine or whatever your routine was, you had one. Even if it sucked, you had one. You had something. And so we were able to go on automatic and just do it. And then when we were saying, no, you can't go anywhere. And then now, you know, now things are starting to open up. You know, we don't really know what the rules are. I'm serious. We don't.
I don't know. You know, and then you find sometimes that, you know, I would have a lot of clients on the phone. So they would phone, and I'd still be in bed in my pajamas doing a reading. They wouldn't know that. You know, they would think that, but yet before I would have them in person. I'd have to get up and get ready and have my breakfast and be ready for the day and make sure that my, space was clear for the reading. Whereas now it was like, okay, I'm in my pajamas, I'm in bed, I can sit on the phone, put my earbuds in and do the reading. And it was a very different way of reading.
Mm-hmm.
So we forget that and we don't look after ourselves. So now, going into 2021, the world is opening up again and there's all these different changes and we're stepping out as if we've been in this dark room and somebody's just opened the front door and it's like full on sunshine. Like, okay, it's a little bit scary now to step outside. I want to be out for a while. I don't know what's out there. So it's been very different, especially for spiritual people because of our heart and energy. We are a lot more empathic and sense things a lot more.
Okay, so let me tell you a secret. It's so funny because you tapped into something. So after the doctor, I had to run some errands. I had to go by the pharmacy, get a couple things. Then I had to run a couple errands, and so at the grocery store, a couple things. So usually my husband does the runs errands because I'm usually doing interviews or I'm doing edits. Because, these just don't go up. They're, most of these don't go up. They're edited, or I have a first frame design, or, it's just a lot of work, contacting people. How are you doing? All the make sure it's that we go over the things that we both agree to go on, all these things. So he goes and does that for me. So I went out and ran some errands yesterday, and the energy, all I can say is this, it's still wonky. It's the best word I can say, wonky. And so when I came back, I was absolutely drained.
Yes. Yeah. I know exactly what you mean.
And at first I thought, well, boy, I'm a wimp, haven't been out. Boy, am I drained. Boy, what a wimp I am. Just to be some black belt martial artist. What a wimp, But then I realized, no, because I get to protect my energy when it's in my inner circle. But when I go out there,
we don't.
I'm noticing it more.
You see, before you were so used to putting your little mantle on and stepping outside with your protection, and then being locked up for a year, you forgot.
Like,
so you would go out and think, oh, and then suddenly, like, oh, damn, I forgot my jacket at home.
Yes.
And it's like all the stuff is just hitting you, and you just kind of think, oh, no, I just need to get home and hide under the duvet. And it becomes too much for you because now you haven't prepared yourself and put your mantle on and your protection because, being a spiritual being, you're a lot more empathic. So you tend to pick up on energies a lot quicker and a lot faster than most people. And that's why you tend to find that when you get home, you're so exhausted as if you've run a marathon.
It's ridiculous, but it was something so simple, and it's still kind of not really up and busy the way that it was. It's a bit off. That's what I mean, wonky. But now I understand how dogs feel. Dogs, when you let them finally out of the house, are like, they're like so excited. I feel like a dog off the leash. I got out of the house. So
get the zoomies and you want to just swim everywhere.
But then the other side, the flip side of that is that I would go all the time, and that's not so good either. So that's not so good either. So it's really about balance and what we want to create in this world, and we need to be the ones to decide how we create this world, not anybody else but us, and how we're going to work together. I do think there's some positive things, for example, like your online conference. I'm doing this online. We're connecting to people around the world. Definitely some positive things. I think even the negative stuff that's popping up is positive because there's things that needs to go. It needs to go.
Things need to change. And, there is an archaic system that needs to be revamped and renewed. And this is the time. We are all the light. And if we shine our light, bright enough, it can't be ignored. And that's what we forget as spiritual beings, is that we are the light. And nobody can ever extinguish the light, no matter how hard they try.
That's true. Absolutely. Well, and this, I just wanted people, I want to give also some solutions. The big thing is acknowledging, okay, we're all going through something, and you personally, look, everybody personally is going through something, whatever that is. We have to know is positive, because the things that are coming up are things that do not serve us, quite honestly. That's the stuff coming up, not the good stuff. The good stuff's good. So I'm looking now like, why do I want to be with this person? Why do I want to talk to this person? What do I, because I'm thinking, what is it that I want and my soul needs? And I'm a little bit more, I guess, discernment, protectful of my time with people that that don't really are aligned with where I'm going. It sounds bad, but we're not here that long. You don't want to waste it with someone that just wants to use you.
And that's what I've been finding. People have just suddenly realized that, I'm not in alignment with this person anymore, or with this group anymore. And I'm just divesting myself of that and allowing myself to step away from it. And I just kind of feel like now is the time for us to learn this. It's like, trust your gut feelings, trust your instincts. If this doesn't feel right, or this person in your life doesn't feel like they are committed to you, or have your best interest at heart, then step away from them. And it's okay to do that. And don't feel guilty about doing it, because it's your feelings. And I think people are forgetting that. You need to be a lot more discerning in who you choose to have in your life. And I think this has brought everything to the surface. It's like everything just bubbled up, and you're like, oh, okay, not everything here on the surface is going to fit into my new cart. And I can only take the things that are the most precious to me, or that mean the most to me, or that will have the most significance in my life.
Right. Well, and I think too is you look at things more, I feel like, the way they are. I mean, if you have 3 kids, then you might not have had time to notice them, but now you realize you have 3 kids. And they're time consuming, and you might want to decide how much time you want to spend with them. Meaning, we look at things more realistically for what they are. Doesn't mean if it's good or bad, but I think that it's a chance to, it gives us a chance to rethink how we want to do things, and also what gives us joy, because we're not here that long. So we want to make sure that we have that joy. So when we talk about energy, out in the world, how can we be proactive about this? When you're out in the world, you can put your God bubble up. Right. A little light God bubble.
I always use it like a little mantle. So it's kind of like, the old Red Riding Hood cape with the little hoodie that goes over like that. So I always visualize, and I always tell people to visualize that something in either like a white or a gold light, and you just put it over yourself, and you tie it here, and you put the hood on. You can still see your face and stuff like that, but you are protected. And that's how you see
that's nice.
So your face is still there. People can still see who you are.
Yes.
They can't take anything from you, because it's protected and secure under your cape. So they can see who you are, and you can portray as much as you want from your face and tell them exactly what you want, but they don't have to take anything from you spiritually or psychically or energetically. So that's where you put yourself. And there's a lot of different ways that you can do that. You can carry little crystals around with you. Tiger's eye and labradorite is very good for protection. So that's tiger's eye.
I have tourmaline. I wear tourmaline everywhere.
So all these sort of things can help you, and they just make you feel more secure and more protected going forward. And then even sort of, for example, if you're driving any distance in your car, it's important to sort of put a little crystal in your car, but also you can take coarse salt or Himalayan salt, and you put it under the mat of your car when you're driving with the pedals, and that will protect you.
Interesting. That's what what I do. I have my holy water, and I spray it. I need to go spray it in my car. That's a good idea. And put that. Some people put religious icons. Say it again.
Lift up the mat by the pedals.
Put a salt.
Mat. You take some, and you just throw some salt underneath that as well, and that helps you on your journey. You can also go to spiritual route and put a little Saint Christopher, because he is the patron saint of journeys and travelers. So you can have a little Saint Christopher or a little cross, whatever floats your boat spiritually, mentally, religious wise, in your way of protection. It is, as long as you feel safe within it and you feel like that's going to help you, then it works for you, because it's the intention you set when you're stepping out of the house. or stepping into that environment.
I
It's the
have like a
intention.
little on my visor, a little Saint Michael, that protect me, Saint Michael, blah blah blah. And then I have I have so much stuff in my car. I've got crystals. I've got a real crystal cross. It's very pretty. So yeah, I've got all sorts of stuff. But I like the idea of elements, like of water. I like the holy water because water, right? I like
Yes.
salt. That's an element. So I like that added thing to it. I think that's helpful, but I think it's setting the intention. And so, you've got this outside energy, then we have our own energy that's bubbling up within us.
Mm-hmm.
And another way to release that would just to sit there and to meditate.
To meditation, but also, within yourself, if you wanting to feel as if you need to energize yourself, it's very important to do meditation. A lot of people can't meditate, but even just sitting quietly outside in the garden, listening to the trees and the plants and the birds and the sounds, is just being with yourself and just breathing, learning breath work. In through the nose and out through the mouth for 5 minutes. It doesn't have to be for a long time.
Yes.
Just sitting with yourself. Another way to do that is to, on a regular basis, maybe every 2 weeks, have a coarse salt or Himalayan bath or shower. So that if you, for example, in a shower, you take a little bowl, put some Himalayan salt in, you climb in the shower, and then you use the salt, you wash it like you're using it like soap, and you cleanse your whole body, and then you rinse it off.
Right, and it also exfoliates you.
And it exfoliates you, gives your skin a good glow, and it cleanses off any negativity that's lingering there. And then it's also important to use incense. So anything like white sage or frankincense, those are very good for cleansing and purifying the home.
Absolutely. I use essential oils at night.
Feeling insecure in your home, then you also put salt over the door. So you put like a little line of salt over the door, and that helps to protect you.
Right. Yeah, I do this whole home ritual thing. I got frankincense and myrrh oil that goes over all the windows and the doors, and then I do sage, and then I do holy water in the corners. I haven't done that in a while. It doesn't feel bad, but it gives it just
on a regular basis. Yeah, definitely do it on a regular basis.
You're right, and it gives you a sense. To me, it's not that anything's bad. It just gives you a sense of purity and peace.
Yes.
To me. And it's also that intention, but yeah, so those are just little things you can do. And you can also sage your car.
Yeah, sage the car as well. And,
sage yourself.
Home, if you want to protect your whole home, you can put salt right around the outside of your home, things like that. I had evidence of somebody I was working with, and they were, stealing my energy and was not getting a good working relationship. And I did a cleansing of her, and I broke the ties with her. And then I put some salt over the door, and I said, only the person with the purest heart can step over my door. And she came to visit me, and she got out of the car, and then she stopped. And she just made like a funny reaction like this, and she'd be, oh, I forgot, I've got an appointment. And she got back in her car and she drove away. She physically couldn't come into my house.
Yeah, I get it. I did that it was about 5-6 years ago at a medium demonstration I did, and it was a nice room. It was a nice room. It was big with sofas, and it was like a theater. And what I did, it was a small, tiny theater. And what I did is I went through and blessed it, and I put salt over the door. I said, no one that has any bad intention shall cross this line. So there was someone who did cross it, and they bucked up, and they acted weird when they crossed the line. It totally, they acted really bizarre. And anyway, that's a whole different story. But what I'm saying is either people will not cross it, or they will, when they do cross it, that if they're not pure of heart, it'll manifest, or they'll keep quiet, and then, then they'll keep quiet, and they'll be to the side and keep quiet. So it's just that intention of, the right people being around you.
Powerful. People don't realize what we say has power, has meaning. So if you set an intention and you mean it and you send it out to the universe. There's an age-old expression, be careful what you wish for because you'll get it. So it's like, whatever intention you set, you're going to get that intention.
Yep. No, absolutely. So And the thing is, I think it's giving yourself, as we're going through this and the negative energy that we might feel, or wonky energy, we'll just say wonky. We won't even say negative. We'll say wonky energy,
Yeah.
things to protect yourself. But also with our own stuff coming up, I don't think we should evaluate it. I think we should go, that's interesting. And just look at it like an observation, and just maybe it's a process. So let it just come out. If you need to write it down, fine. But let it come out. If you need to sit outside and just let your thoughts go, fine too. But we're going through this process together. So when you're going through a process, you don't always have the answers right then, because you're still running out stuff. So
Definitely.
I think people should give themselves permission to just look, it's okay. You're going through something right now. There is going to be an end thing. You are going to feel more grounded. You are going to feel more stable. And you're going to also, like you said, shine a little brighter, because you're going to be a more authentic version of yourself.
Very much so, definitely. And I think that once all this energy download has happened and everybody's energies are, everything fits into place and all the DNA is connected, I feel like there won't be any stopping the light workers, because it will be a massive light that will shine across the whole world.
Oh, I love that. That's a beautiful vision. And I think one other thing you mentioned, I will just say that, I know we're out of time, but I will say that you did mention it, so I will bring it up. You mentioned about people that as we change and we morph, right? And whether we change careers or spouses or locations, whatever it is, that there are some people that, because you're becoming more of you, that may be jealous of you. And you want to speak on that real quick?
Yeah, sometimes when you are subtly changing or evolving or becoming more recognized or more successful or whatever it is, whatever path you're taking, or, suddenly now they realize that you're a psychic medium or you're a healer or you do something amazing, they get jealous of it because they don't have that ability. So they tend to think, well, I'm going to be jealous of that person because they've got that. I want to be like that and I can't. So you get a lot of jealousy. And you get people that are then very possessive of you. You'll have clients that will want to, phone you every 5 minutes and be obsessed with you because you're going to give them the answers. I had a client like that, and I've actually had to wean myself off because
sounds like a drug.
Yeah, it is. It was every week, and eventually I had to wean it off until now we don't talk at all because it was just not getting healthy for her or for me. Because in order to have readings and to get spiritual advice, you've got to let it happen. You can't phone every 5 minutes because the stuff has not happened yet. So you need to let all the processes happen and your pathway to open up for you. So if you keep on phoning every 5 minutes, you're not allowing anything to open. So your life is not going to change. So
the other thing is too, I think we all need to look at who we are being, who's being codependent on us. That doesn't, and there are a lot of people that are very caring and loving, and people that are users, and that you don't have to be a psychic medium, and they cling to the giver. So. The users cling to the givers, and we need to, hey, it's it's ugly, but you got to look at it because they are spiritually sucking you dry, from your kindness. And the problem with kind people is they're kind and they usually don't say anything, but.
And you don't want to be horrible to them because you know that they're going through a bad time. So you think, okay, you don't kick a dog when it's down. You try and be, but then you have to come to a time in your life where you think, okay, well, this is just getting too much. How do I, in a kind, gentle way, let this person move on and evolve their life into what it needs to be? And that's where the jealousy sets in. And even within some of the field, some of the psychic mediums and readers that are not as true and authentic and that are, I wouldn't say fake, but trying to be something that they're not. There is also a lot of jealousy and possessiveness that comes up from that as well. So you not just have to guard yourself from general public, but also people that you think should be on the same playing field as you, and they're not. Sheep and wolf and sheep's clothing.
It's weird. When I years ago when I was, we're both born like this, but I took classes, at spiritualist churches and so forth. I did not expect this thing I mean, it was shocking. Jealousy or whatever you want to call it from people. And, especially, being from the South, and I would come in and hug people and start laughing. And they'd think, oh, she's a joke. Till I started getting all the stuff right in extreme detail. And then they went, either they really liked me and wanted to be my friend, or they hated me. I mean, I'm going to be honest, they hated me. And I know, that's why I'm telling you that. And I didn't expect that. And I realized, I just went, one thing I do is like a heartbeat, not my problem, not my problem, not my problem. Yeah. It's not my problem. It's not my problem what someone wants to think about me, right?
Just smile and wave when you walk away.
Yeah.
And you let them do their own stuff, because it's not about you.
It's not about me. I'm like, well, wish you well. I don't know what's going on there. Okay. So, and that's, you don't have to be a psychic medium for that to happen. But I was just making that comment because I look at this like ministers, and it's like a minister convention where there's jealousy. And I thought, this is really strange, but we're human, and people are going to be human, and they're going to be human.
We all have our own frailties, and we all have our own insecurities. So for me, it feels like the jealousy is actually insecurities.
Yeah, you're right. Absolutely. And so when you look at it that way, that maybe there's some kindness, that doesn't mean you need to be around them. But you can still maybe look at it a little bit differently. Instead of being upset, is to realize, wow, I feel
love and light. If you always do everything with love and light, and you give them the generosity of spirit, whatever their journey will be for them. You don't have to be involved in it.
Exactly. You just say, yeah, I wish you well, blah, blah, blah. You recognize it. I don't understand what it is. God, I hope you handle that with them. I'm sending you a lot of love and success. See ya, and it really is done with, you do it with a pure heart. And really, I think it's best to do it immediately, because if you let it get too involved, then you start having, then you need to have someone do a cord attachment cut, because they're too attached, and then it gets weird, and you get upset and they get upset. So it's really best to just knock that out if you feel it's off right from the beginning. Well, look, I know we're out of time, but thank you so much that we could discuss this energy thing that's going on, and how people to take back their power and their energy and to shine bright.
Definitely. It's going to be an amazing journey.
Yeah, well, we're going to follow you and what you're doing, and everybody go to the what is it? Tell us again the website.
It's the wellnesslifestyleconference.com.
Right, and sign up, and it's just amazing speakers and healers, and I mean,
it's something for everybody. Yeah, it's something for everybody.
Oh, absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Priscilla, and can't wait to hear more what you're doing with your global spiritual events. Thank you, and much love to you.
Thank you for having me.